issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First. I think you know that. I'm a first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go, let's go, let's go. So the structure of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima is as follows. Hour one, we usually look at what's going on locally, what's happening in the left coast side of town. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond, and look at topics touching the nation. And in our third hour, we do a deep dive with a person of interest or a hot topic. Today, it's kind of a combo of both. My colleague, Cassie Betts of our weekend show, Talk Tech to Me, joins us, and we will unpack some of the things going on in technology, not just technology in terms of what gadgets you should get, but what's happening in the space right now in terms of some of the lawsuits and different challenges around AI and the sort of massive monopolies of information that are Google and et cetera, et cetera. So that should be a really enlightening conversation. And as always, you are invited in every hour, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. You're invited in every hour to just weigh in, have a thing to say, stir the pot, as I said on X. You mad about it? Call me, 800-920-1580. This hour, our local hour, it's me, you, and the microphone. And we got quite a few things to unpack, and we welcome you in to do so. Man almighty, LA Times has a front page story today about how we really haven't bounced back from, we could call it COVID, the pandemic. Some people are saying it's the strikes, although really the slowdown in work here in Hollywood predates the strikes. It really is something that became very acute during COVID because a lot of things shut down and everybody was making modifications in order to deal with this dis-ease, which, by the way, is having another little spike here in LA County. But the strike and COVID, I think, from what I'm gathering, are really masking a much more serious trend in the industry, which is that the streamers, the Netflixes of the world, the Paramounts of the world, the Peacocks, they were trying to establish themselves as studios, and they were just producing all of this content, right? And now they're saying the business model doesn't work. So what does that mean? It's always the frontline workers that are expected to pay. You don't see any big bosses at Netflix or even the traditional studios taking pay cuts. Well, I'll shave a couple million off my pay so that we can keep production flowing so we could pay the actors more. And the reason I think it's important to talk about this is because we went on strike. I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild. We went on strike. The writers went on strike, and they were, especially the writers, they were extended strikes. We were pushing back against AI, looking for better working conditions. We did win some significant victories. Not all the victories we wanted, but we did win some significant victories. Definitely sizable raises and increases in the way that actors can be compensated by streamers like we normally would with residuals. I'm still getting little tiny residual checks for, the Parkers. And that's been a minute. But so we did have some victories, but I think just like what Cecily Myart Cruz and Max Arias from the Teachers Union and SEIU 99 were talking about, you win the victories in the strike, and then the companies find ways to make it seem like the lack of work or the problems in the industry are the fault of the people who went on strike. Well, now we can't produce anything because it's too expensive to pay actors. But that's not the truth. Oh, well, now we can't have these programs for children on campuses because we have to pay the teachers and pay the janitors and the teaching assistants. But that's not the truth. That's what they like to blame, just like the fast food restaurants tried to pull this maneuver when they said, oh, well, we're raising our prices because now we have to pay workers $20 an hour. Here's an idea. Cut the pay of the CEOs. They're millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then guess what? Then you won't have to raise prices. Or how about blaming it on the real cause of rising prices, which is price gouging by other corporations, the corporations that supply your cheese and beans and rice and beef to all beef patties and whatever else you are slinging. How about that? How about gas prices are up as the big oil giants gouge us? Inflation is not controlled by the president. He may be able to do a thing or two. Congress may be able to do a thing or two, but it's not controlled by them. Corporations in a free, air quotes, free capitalist society can charge anything they want. And so, of course, they're going to blame the workers. Of course, they're going to say, well, if we didn't have to pay these fast food workers $20 an hour, your burger would be cheaper. If we didn't have to pay these actors, a decent wage, then maybe there'd be more production. As it is right now, there's a contraction going on in the industry. The streamers are saying that they're not profitable, something I highly doubt. But Hollywood studios are famous for having various sets of books. The set of books that shows they're losing money on everything, so they don't have to pay actors those on the back end, those deals where they get a percentage of the production, and where they can make it look like they lost money. Then they have other sets of books. I don't know that I'm buying this, but that's what the streamers are saying. They're saying they're not really making money right now. And so production is down. On top of that, we have a lot of projects going to Canada, going to Atlanta, even New York. New York is building a bunch of studios and trying to compete with LA. Funny how everyone wants to live here, but nobody wants to help build up our economy. And I know Atlanta's been really aggressive about tax cuts and such. So, this is the landscape, and it sucks. I don't think it's forever. Some people are saying it's a permanent downtrend, and that just we won't see the kind of production that we've seen in the past with a lot of the black and other non-general market artists are having their development deals and studio deals cut. They were cut during the strike, and they're continuing that trend, or else they're not renewing them. It's a downturn. I mean, it is a downturn. I think once again, hopefully it will drive us to create our own alternate economy with certain projects. I mean, we saw that with YouTube. We've seen it with other social media platforms, although when Cassie Betts gets here later, we can talk about how some of these platforms are now squeezing creators. So it's a little tougher to get rich on socials than it used to. Nevertheless, LA is a union town. I know folks don't talk about that much on the national stage, but we are a union town. And that's a good thing. Quiet as it's kept, that's a good thing. Yeah, you can make a little more if you go to West Hollywood. They have the highest minimum wage in the country. But fast food workers mandated $20 an hour. Most of the actors, most of the below the line workers, the crews, are unionized. Our teachers' union, strong. Janitors' union. Even security guards have a union here. Not all security is in that union, but many are. If you travel across the United States, you will find that most of those folks working in security are making minimum wage, even though they're in charge of the well-being of the establishment, and they are not unionized. So focusing on what we want, not what we don't want, is the fact that we have this tradition, as much as Southern California has a stereotype of being a bunch of airheads, and we know that, well, I know that our high school graduation rates are lower and college graduations are lower than any other big city. But we will get on a picket line. We will organize a workplace. And that's a powerful thing. And that's why we continue to see the organizing around Amazon and some of the other fast food restaurants and grocery chains continuing here in Southern California, even as you see pushback and consolidation from these big grocery chains, the Albertsons, Kroger's of the world. Now, when I was in Canada this summer, I found out that the price of that consolidation, because in Canada, there's like one big company that owns all the grocery chains. And grocery prices there are insane, way higher than here. It's the monopolization and consolidation of the industry. If you've got 5 different stores and they're all owned by the same person, they can do price fixing, price gouging, and all kinds of other things. And that's why I think we need to really go back to old-fashioned trust busting, like, what the Biden administration is looking at doing in big tech. We need to look at doing that for food, because that's the thing that's really, I think, hurting most Americans, whether it's on the national landscape or here locally. You go to the store and the stuff just costs more. And even when they say inflation is leveling out, it's still more than it was a year ago, more than it was 2 years ago, and you still got to fit the same items in your paycheck, which is more or less remaining the same size it was 2 or 3 years ago. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Speaking of strikes, we got a big one on the horizon. We'll look at that and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@kbla1580.com. That's advertising@kbla1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you Black.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station. And your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, you're back to me, and there was a powerful article in the Los Angeles Times over the weekend talking about the security on the LA Metro. This is something that has been a hot topic for the past couple months, especially because there's been attacks on passengers, attacks on drivers. We had another one this weekend. And the reason I found it powerful, because they were talking to a former Metro security chief and talking about why things are the way they are. The woman's name is Gina Osborne. She was a retired FBI agent that went on to lead security for the LA Metro, and she's saying that they had cameras, hidden cameras, observing how police patrol the Metro, and said it was lax, that they weren't even paying attention. At one time, a guy died at one of the stations, and none of the cops even noticed. It wasn't one of the Metro ambassadors who did a wellness check and noticed the person was actually dead. Now, her solution and your solution or my solution may be different, but I think one of the things that is really notable here is that she is questioning how useful it is to have those cops there. I'm sure her solution is train them more, get more and more and more and more cops, and that will make us safe. I don't agree with that, but I think for me, it's a flashing red light. Oh, weird analogy, I know, talking about security, but it's a flashing red light about why Metro should not create their own police organization. That's a terrible idea. We don't need more police organizations. Oh, now we'll have Metro Police and school police and this police agency and that police agency, and the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. If, they already have these problems, why would they be better with their own police agency? Surely there have to be other ways to keep the Metro safe. The mayor has said that she is dispatching a surge of police onto the Metro. Well, they said public safety personnel, but pretty much it's cops on the trains, on the buses, in the stations. And they think that by, swamping the system with cops and sheriff's deputies and more ambassadors, that it will make the system safer. I just don't think that's the solution. I feel like, the mayor has to do something. I get that. She can't sit there and go, oh, well, we make us safe, even though that is the truth. She has to do something, and Metro has to do something, because we need to build up ridership. We need to, especially in the middle of this climate crisis, we need to be looking at what it is that can take us away from this addictive dependence on fossil fuels. And Metro is one of those things. And we're building it up. We're making more and more trains and making the system much more usable. I know Metro doesn't want to hear this, but I feel like one of the solutions is, free Metro. Why do I say that? Because I feel like the cops are busy chasing people who evade fares instead of worrying about keeping the riders safe. They're policing the wrong things. And I'm not saying that I know what the solution is, but I think part of it is not chasing so-called fare evaders. I think part of it has to do with having people there. They don't necessarily have to be cops. People that clean up, more and more ambassadors, having those gang intervention workers and others with eyes on the metro, so that when you're riding, you're less likely, to be by yourself. And then the other thing is we've got to deal with homelessness. And I know that's like, thank you, Captain Obvious, but we have to deal with unhoused people, because part of the problem that we have with Metro is people are living on it. And I know nobody wants to hear that because it's not a convenient fact. But when my child, started high school several years ago, and I put him on the Metro because you're a bigger teenager now. You could take Metro even though it was far. I rode that Metro with him every day for several weeks because I wanted to see what we were dealing with. This is in the summer prior to school starting. And almost every day there were people sleeping on the trains. There were people, unhoused people, having a crisis on the trains. It reminds me of the Bay Area. That's what happened to Bart. And I'm not, blaming those folks. When you talk about root causes, that's what we're talking about. Why are these people here? And how can we serve them in such a way that they don't have to live on the Metro? Because that's part of the problem. Y'all in the chat room, good morning. Molly Bell, Ben Frank, Jamie Kazee, whoever else is in there, we welcome you. They're talking about Trump. Yeah, we'll get a chance to talk some about he who shall not be named in hour 2 and his disaster, courting the Libertarian Party, his closing arguments in his trial happening today. We could have a hell of a week. We could have the conviction of a former president. That could happen this week. Anyway, I digress. Well, let me digress just a little further in case I forget to tell you this. I had this thought. What if the Supreme Court is slow walking the president's immunity to see, the former president, to see if he's going to be convicted? If he gets convicted in this case, they could say, oh, we need to grant him immunity. And then I believe that would be thrown out. I'm saying I think because would that apply to every court or just federal court? In any case, they are definitely slow walking, and so, he may be proclaimed above the law at any moment, but he could also be convicted this week. So, union leaders have UAW 4811. They've already started a rolling strike at the UC system, and it could well escalate this week. UCLA, UC Davis. And what's interesting to me about this, and we'll talk more about this in hour 2 with our special guest, is that we see union leaders standing up, and they're supposed to start striking at UCLA and UC Davis today for free speech on campus. The UAW 4811 represents the graduate students who are teaching assistants and tutors and researchers at 10 different UC campuses and at the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. They launched a strike at UC Santa Cruz. They're walking out. The UC system is claiming that this is illegal But the labor board, the state labor board, so far siding with the union. And so, end of the year, graduations, finals, all that stuff still going on. These walkouts are very disruptive. They're saying that it might end up being one of the biggest actions yet by the unions in support of Palestinians. And after the horror that we saw over the weekend with the bombing of Rafah, it certainly seems like the right time to make such a statement. It definitely marks an escalation in American protest over this insanity. Perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. News, traffic, and sports, and more on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The man who attacked former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer is set to be resentenced today due to a court error. The judge who sentenced David DePape earlier this month to 30 years in prison says she made an error by not giving DePape a chance to speak in court. DePape broke into Pelosi's home in the San Francisco Bay Area nearly 2 years ago. In Pennsylvania, a dozen black soldiers who fought in the Civil War are being remembered for their sacrifice. A ceremony to honor the 12 members of the USCT, the United States Colored Troops, who are buried at the Lincoln Cemetery in Cumberland County, was held yesterday. Attendees left white roses after the ceremony to symbolize the purity of the individuals who served. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Need money for the holidays? Avoid the yikes before Christmas. Hurry into Jackson Hewitt for a holiday loan on your tax refund, up to $1,000. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Congratulations to the Grambling State University baseball team. They won the SWAC tournament to qualify for the NCAA Division I tournament. Grambling has a first-round matchup Friday against Texas A&M in the College Station Regional. Grambling is the only HBCU school in the NCAA baseball tournament. The Tigers are looking for their first NCAA baseball tournament win. Despite a health scare Sunday on a flight from Miami to L.A., Mike Tyson is still planning to fight Jake Paul on July 20th in Arlington, Texas. The 57-year-old Tyson needed medical attention at LAX after having symptoms of nausea and dizziness on the flight. Tyson is gearing up for his first fight since 2005. The Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals for the second time in 3 years. They swept Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics await the winner of the Dallas-Minnesota series in the Western Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now during our Memorial Day sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed plus free home delivery when you add any base. Ends Memorial Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Man, oh man, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. I'll tell you, it's hard sometimes when things seem to be really a little hectic. We can do it, and we must do it. I got to go home to the Bay this weekend for a little bit, and I'm repeatedly just blown away by the level of crime there. It's not funny, but it's funny because we're at the rental car place, and they actually have a picture, a graphic of a robber, I guess in case you don't speak English, and it says, that people are breaking into cars here in Oakland. The guy at the rent-a-car place actually told us, don't stop anywhere in Oakland unless you have to. What? Like just pass over the whole city? That's the advice they were giving at the rental car lot, and they have these graphic drawings of this is a robber, beware of robbers. But I checked with some of my friends who might be less hysterical than, rent-a-car companies, and it apparently is true. I actually do know someone who was robbed at gunpoint while being interviewed on camera in Oakland, and they took the camera. It's like, it's weird for me to come back home to LA and be like, oh, I'm back in South Central where it's safe. But that's where we are now with that. And the reason I bring it up is because I'm thinking about, what we're discussing around Metro right now. A Metro driver got attacked over the weekend by a person that they believe is unhoused. The driver was driving a Metro bus, and they recognized the person that, I guess this woman who they believe is unhoused, has, harassed them and yelled at them and things repeatedly on other occasions. So when she saw the person, she tried to close the bus, and the woman's arm got caught in the door, and then she had to open it to let the woman's arm out, at which point the attacker runs in, snatches the driver's glasses and breaks them, and then scratches her face. Then she got away. So police are searching for this woman, which is really also terrible because it means now cops have a reason and an excuse to go harass a bunch of unhoused folks on Skid Row. But at the same time, that's not fair for that bus driver to have to be attacked like that, just doing their job. And I myself have witnessed a couple of incidents, which I've shared with you on this show, Violent incidents happening in the streets. I told you about that one where this guy punched a short, tiny little Asian woman dead in her face. Like, boom, full on like Muhammad Ali style, like someone that knows how to punch. I felt terrible because I witnessed it. I was about, I'm going to say 10 feet away, maybe less than that. I was sitting in my car, so they didn't see me, but I saw them. I was parked, and I was about to go run at the beach. Bam, right in her face. And I did not call the police because I did not want to be responsible for a black man being murdered by the cops, even though I had empathy for that woman. And I did go and talk to her. But I feel like that's an untenable position. You can't call the folks that are supposed to protect and serve you because they might kill someone black. And that's not me being paranoid. The numbers show that's still happening. As much as we want to act like we've moved on to other issues. Actually, 2023 was the deadliest year in a long time for cops killing black people. We were just not paying as much attention. And of course, the anniversary of George Floyd took place over the weekend. We can say, oh, well, people aren't marching, so there's no activism going on. But that's not the truth. Black Lives Matter Grassroots, which is Black Lives Matter, now expanding to 42 chapters. Adding 7 more chapters, or 7 or 8, not sure, something like that. They're going to be up to 42 chapters, including a couple chapters in prisons. The people that are in the trenches doing the work are still in the trenches doing the work. You just don't see the mass protests, and you don't see the celebrities supporting. Not so many. There's a few that do, because now it's not trendy anymore, so it might hurt folks' careers. But the level of mental health challenges that folks are dealing with, and I don't just think it's the pandemic, I also think it's just maybe the drugs, new crop of drugs, new level of crazy. Maybe it's the pressures of, the cost of living. LA lost a giant in sports history, Bill Walton, making his transition after a battle, apparently a pretty long battle with cancer. He was a 2-time NCAA champ, a UCLA great, 2-time NBA champ, a basketball Hall of Famer, and a broadcaster. So he is being missed and mourned throughout the country, but I would say especially here in Southern California. So rest in peace to Mr. Walton. One thing I love about LA, when we send somebody off, we send somebody off. You know what I mean? People will show up and pay tribute. And I love that for us. I love that for LA is such a weird combination of I care and I don't care. I care and I don't care. I'll cut you off in traffic, but I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'm not a General Hospital watcher. Do any of you guys watch General Hospital? No? Yeah. I'm not a General Hospital watcher, but this guy, Johnny Wachter, he was regular on that show for a couple of years. And he was murdered over the weekend. Really sad, because he was walking a woman to her car, right? After he worked as a bartender, like many actors, they have more than one job sometimes. And he was walking a woman to her car. He saw people gathered around his car, and he went to check it out. Well, it turned out these guys were trying to steal his catalytic converter. Speaking of things that are totally out of control in LA, somebody was trying to steal the catalytic converter from under his car. And when he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" they shot him to death. think he was a young guy. I think he was in his 30s. He was also on Westworld and Criminal Minds. And now he's gone. I think it's 37. They said he was 37 years old. And it's symptomatic of, it's hard to talk about this as a progressive member of the media, because on the one hand, it's like, this man is dead. It doesn't matter what the statistics say. The statistics say crime is down. But the thievery of catalytic converters is not down. It's completely insane and out of control. And this right here is one of the things where I think we can point fingers, but also the auto industry's got to do something about it. Okay, find a way to make those things not stealable. That's one thing. The other thing is remembering that even though, these issues are important, right? Metro bus drivers shouldn't be attacked. Passengers should be able to ride the trains, because that's what allows people to move around LA that don't have the means to buy a car. And it's also what's going to keep us with breathable air if we can have viable public transportation. But it's important to keep these stories and conversations in the context that, yes, believe it or not, crime is down. It's still down because the right-wing politicians want to tell you just the opposite so they can scare you into voting for them and their terrible policies, which actually do not keep us safe. If repression and arresting our way out of everything kept us safe, the 80s and 90s would have been much safer than the 2020s. And guess what? That is not the case. And it's not even close. It is not even close. Remember, back then, you didn't have social media to show you the picture of the person getting jacked over and over and over and over again, or to show you the picture of the people running out with the Gucci purses, because we didn't have that. We saw it on the news, or we didn't see it at all. And now there's always going to be someone with their phone taking a picture, so you will have the video of it, and so you can feel scared and watch it over and over again. But that doesn't mean there's an increase. It just means we are more inundated and saturated with these images constantly. So protecting your peace means understanding that sometimes it's just that you're seeing more. It's not that there is more. And that said, we still need to seek solutions, but not the failed ones that haven't worked in the past. If you always do what you've always done, then what? You'll always get what you've always got. 800-920-1580 is the perfect time to call me. 800-920-1580. Mad about it? Want to complain about it? Got something to celebrate? Talk to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Rizumkizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
I'm going out with the girls this weekend. Nails done, outfit stunner, and my skin, I know it's gonna be glowing because I glammed up my shower routine with new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. It smells so luxurious and moisturizes deep into my skin with its super rich, creamy lather that's bursting with vitamin B3. So my skin glows and my confidence grows. Try new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash for glowing skin in just 14 days.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Attorney Carrie Harper's in the YouTube chat criticizing me, and rightly so. She says, so you witnessed a violent battery and didn't call police because you didn't want the suspect harmed. What about others he could hurt worse down the line? Just asking for a friend. And believe me, I thought about that. I really did, because the others he might hurt down the line might include me. Obviously, that's where I go, one of the places where I go to work out. I go down to the beach real early in the morning, park there, and because no one's parked there yet, and go run or walk. That's what I do. I mean, not that it's just all about me, but, you know, you think about public safety. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. I witnessed a violent battery and didn't call the police because I didn't want the suspect to be murdered. That's exactly what happened. And I know it's terrible. I'm not proud of it. But that was a calculated decision that I made because I am not willing to be the reason that a black man is murdered in Los Angeles or anywhere else. A black man who clearly needed help, clearly was mentally ill and violent. I'm not saying that's good, but I felt that was the choice I had to make. I thought about Brendan Glenn in Brother Africa. You know, homeless people murdered by police. That's what I thought about. I've been to too many marches, too many rallies, cried too many tears. And the police were called. The woman called the police. Her family or whatever. There were several people around her. And I did go and talk to her. But no, I did not call the police. And you know what? I can't tell you that even though you make a good point, Attorney Harper, that I would make a different decision next time. There's too much at stake. Kwamel says, I am afraid I agree with you, Attorney Harper. Black doesn't trump doing something crazy that harms another. Yeah, that's true. Thus we hold Supreme Court Justice, we try to hold Clarence Thomas accountable. So you would have called the police, and if they would have shot that guy dead, you would have been fine with that? That would have worked for you? Sorry, it doesn't work for me. Molly Bell says, are we happy with social media? I'd rather have a vibrant society than everyone sitting on social media making foul comments. Yeah, well, maybe time to start blocking and unfollowing folks. I think social media in small doses, social media has to be managed, right? Says the lady that wastes way too much time scrolling on Instagram. Nevertheless, it's like it can suck up all your time and energy and get us into a situation where we have a very distorted view of what's actually happening in the world. I get that. I don't know why Attorney Harper won't call and yell at me. She's yelling at me in the chat. She says, I love you, Dee, but you're assuming murder by cop. Maybe the responding officer may have been a 21-year-old Carrie Harper. Yeah, who's no longer a cop and now, you know, fights for the rights of those who have been harmed and murdered. And yeah, I'm assuming murder by cop. And that's not an unreasonable assumption. That's my whole point. Can I call 911? Hi, can you send me the cop, the conscious cop, please? Can you send me the non-white supremacist one? Yeah, not the one that came in with good intentions and got turned toward a culture of anti-blackness. You know, those other cops. Can you send those? Someone called the cops on George Floyd, and let's see how that ended up. Over a supposedly counterfeit $20 bill. Jamal House says, if it was black on black crime, would you have called? I don't believe in black on black crime. And by the way, Jamal, that's not how you spell my name. But anyway, I don't believe in black on. What is black on black crime? That's crime. Every community does crime on the people that are close to them. If I'm going to rob someone, I'm not going to go all the way. Most people are not going to go all the way to Pacific Palisades to do it. They're going to batter and harm people in their own community. If that black man had punched a black woman, what would I have done? I have to think about that. I think I would have made the same choice because I don't want to be responsible for the murder of a black man by police. If you don't like it, call me, 800-920-1580. I'm mad about it, call me. To me, the term black on black crime is something we need to stop saying, and I'm going to say that because it's a Talking Point Tuesday. Take that out of your mouth, throw it in the conservative trash can, rinse your mouth out with some Listerine or cinnamon tea, and then find another way to express it because it pathologizes blackness. Until you start calling every crime where a white person kills or harms another white person white on white crime, until you start saying brown on brown crime or yellow on yellow crime, which sounds racist when you say it, until you do that, don't say black on black crime. Just stop. Stop pathologizing yourself. We say these things, we pick them up from the ether, and then we keep on saying them, even though they undermine ourselves and our own perception of ourselves, the perception of others in the world towards us. Why? Is there a special term for us? Do you ever think about that? Because everything black people do has to be worse. It's like, when you go to get married, any wedding thing costs 10 times any other thing. Oh, they're wedding napkins. That'll be $500. It's a version of that with blackness. Oh, it's a black person doing a crime. Then that's a super predator. Oh, it's a black person rolling their eyes. That's defiance. This child must be expelled immediately. It's the black tax that Professor Jody Armour wrote about in his book, Negrophobia. And if we tax ourselves by mindlessly saying things that do not serve us, then where does the societal bleeding stop if we won't stop it? Sacrifice one to save one. Well, no, because the lady didn't die. The lady was punched. I went and talked to her. She didn't get knocked out. She was rattled. I'm sure it hurt. I could tell from looking that it hurt, but she didn't die. So no, it's not sacrifice one to save one. It's I will not be responsible for cops murdering another black man. I won't do it. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think it is a logical conclusion from what I have seen, not just what I've seen with my own eyes. But look, remember, I do news for a living, news and information. I read about more stories than we ever talk about. And many of those stories are black people being murdered in various situations for various reasons or no reason at all, none of which justify the murder of that person. by police all over this country. And I will not be an accomplice to that. Sorry. It's fine. You don't have to agree with me. Until we purge our police and law enforcement of white supremacy, white supremacists, actual persons, organizations, affiliations, and philosophies. Now, interestingly enough, you all know I don't consider myself an abolitionist. I'm not saying we should get rid of all police, but we're going to have to radically reform, reimagine. The FBI keeps warning us about these white supremacists and the threat of domestic terror, and we see it play out. But what are we doing about it? Almost nothing. Almost nothing. Almost nothing. Until police agencies can actually protect and serve black people the same way they do everybody else or better, that's not where I turn for help. Love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. We're pivoting to the national after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The man who attacked former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer is set to be resentenced today due to a court error. The judge who sentenced David DePape earlier this month to 30 years in prison says she made an error by not giving DePape the area nearly 2 years ago. In Pennsylvania, a dozen black soldiers who fought in the Civil War are being remembered for their sacrifice. A ceremony